Welcome to the Confessions of a Group X Instructor podcast. For group exercise junkies and enthusiastic classgoers, we'll explore and uncover authentic, thought-provoking, and heartwarming industry education and inspiration from entertaining, badass fitness pros. And now your host, creator of Warrior Rhythm, Warrior Strength, Warrior Combat, Warrior Revolution, and Warrior Kids Group fitness brands, Ellen DeWord. Here we grow.
Welcome to Confessions of a Group X Instructor podcast. Thank you for hanging out with me. I just got home from France last night. I spent 2 weeks in the south of France. This was kind of like a birthday gift slash present for my mom. I don't know whether it was to my mom or for my mom, but she turned 75 last year. And as a gift to herself, she wanted to take her kids to Europe. I have a brother, his name is Blaine, and he lives in Texas. P.S. I'm a native Texan. And so she texted me. I was like in an airport somewhere, of course, and she wanted to take us to Europe. She texted both of us, and he was like, "Yeah, of course I'm in." And I was like, I can't. I have idea. I have the Idea World Convention. This was last year. So I was like, I can't do it. I'm going to Idea. I can't go to Europe with you. So long story short, she gave me a rain check. So she took my brother Blaine and his family to Europe last year. And then this year we went. So I just got back last night. Travel was really hard. I'll spare you the details because they're not exciting. And really just tell you that the trip was, I've never been to Europe. I've done a significant amount of international travel, mostly repeat times to Mexico and the Caribbean. So this was definitely different. And I ate a ton of amazing food. I ate my way through the south of France. We predominantly spent time in Provence and went to like a dozen towns. So we basically like woke up, um, drove to a certain town, ate, you know, like a lavish meal, did something very touristy in the town, whether it's like visit a castle or visit a church or go to an art museum. And then we would have dinner and then drive back to this Airbnb that had a swimming pool and all that stuff. It was really nice. I did get to work out. I did quite a bit of warrior rhythm while I was there. I'm actually working on new choreography. So I had some great poolside workouts. All right, so I'm home and oh, one of the things I wanted to say, like as just being to Europe for the first time in my life, that I thought of you guys and I thought you might find interesting, and maybe many of you already know. It's just such an interesting culture. No one's overweight there. I mean, I love people watching, and we'd be sitting at these restaurants forever and these cafes forever. And I was loving all the people watching. And one thing I was like quickly observing is that no one's overweight. So then I started to like look for that. And yeah, day in, day out, nobody's overweight. And I really think it's because they eat, uh, you know, they're eating rich food slowly. So the satiety, their meals, they last at like a minimum of 2 hours to eat a meal. And it's really cool. So I just think there's a lot of like walking around, a lot of slow eating, a lot of eating. Sorry, I am not adjusted to my life back here in the Pacific Northwest. Oh, my body is so tired. Um, so I just think they're doing something right with their eating and their pace and their, just, I don't know. Yeah, it was interesting. I did notice a lot of cigarette smoking. That was surprising. I didn't realize. Uh, so that's something like at least in our country, you're seeing hardly any of anymore. Um, So it's just fascinating stuff. All right, let's dive into the heart of today's episode. I'm going to talk to you about podcasting. What? Why would I think I could talk to you about podcasting? I'm still a newbie. I'm still new. I'll tell you why. Because yes, I'm still a newbie, but this is episode 28. That's no small feat. I am really darn proud of myself. And thank you. Thank you. I'm proud of us. Like we're doing it. We're making a podcast. We're building a community together. It's happening. 28 episodes, you guys. We're doing it. It's really amazing. And I say that's really amazing because guess what? 90% of podcasters quit after episode 3. That's 1.8 million quitters. Of the 200,000 left, according to Reddit, 90% will quit after 20 episodes. That's another 180,000 gone. To be in the top 1%, people, you guys, to be in the top 1% of podcasts in the world, you only need to publish 21 episodes of your podcast. Your competition is not the 2 million podcasts. It's the 20,000 podcasters who didn't quit. Well, damn, that makes me feel good. But you know what? I knew when I decided to do this that I wouldn't quit. Well, the truth is, I decided to give it a year. I decided to commit to a year. And I knew because I know myself, because I don't quit. Um, I knew it would be hard. And I knew I would give it a year. So here we are. Now, I'm going to talk to you because maybe you want to start a podcast, right? Maybe you do. I am absolutely sure that many of you have great stuff to contribute to the world. So maybe this is for you. I'm serious. So, albeit I feel like a newbie, I'm in the top 1% and you're coming along with me for the ride. So, let me dive in. I want to talk about some general considerations about you starting a podcast. And then I want to really talk about the investment of time, investment of money, investment of energy. And then I'm just going to tell you like how to get started and what my advice is. Even if like you've never thought about it, think about it right now. Okay. Let's dive in. So, some general considerations. You should have a strong why. And I wanted to share with you what my why is. And I'm surprised I haven't done this sooner, but my why is really powerful. Like, I'm very motivated by my why, and I'm very clear on it. I've known it from day one. I want to give back to you. That is my why. I genuinely want to give. I want to do some service work. And while that might sound super altruistic, I I feel like I've been such a baller and hustler in my life and in fitness. Well, gosh, this goes back to uh, well, there was just a time in my life where I really wanted everything to be handed to me on a silver platter. Maybe that's a story for another day. I'm not going to go there right now. And then there was like a switch that got flipped in my head where I realized, like, hey, I gotta figure this out and be a big girl and figure out how I'm gonna like provide for my kids by myself if I need to. And I gotta hustle. And so I became a hustler. And this was like circa 2012-ish. And my first big hustle was actually with Beachbody, the network marketing side, like the selling of home workouts. Back in that day, they were DVDs, like the P90X booklet that you get, like the Insanity and all that stuff. Like the remember how many of you guys had those? The DVD bundles. I and supplements, Shakeology and whatnot. To this day, I actually still am a Beachbody rep. I don't if you follow me, you might notice you don't ever see me promoting it, but I drink Shakeology every single day of my life. Literally, I took it to France with me. Like I'm very committed to that product. And what's my point? My point is why I'm podcasting. My point is that I became such a hustler, and it started with that. And I was like always asking people to join my team and buy my products and buy home workouts from my link, and buy supplements from my link, and buy this cleanse and buy this new digestive boost. And like I was just always hustling and always selling. And then, I became a master trainer for that company when they had their live division. And I was always like, sign up for my PIO certification, sign up for my Insanity certification, sign up for my P90X. I have always been like, buy from me to use this service of mine. Like I've just for like how many years is that now? A lot. I've been like, and then my life has changed, and now I have my own company. So now I'm like, get certified with me, take my next training, and like sign up for my online gym, and I just take my class, and I'm just always like, I wanted to give back. I wanted to stop asking for um a sale from the people that follow me, and I wanted to just give and say thank you. And that's what this podcast is about to me, and it feels great. It's a huge like labor of love, and it feels good to me. So that's my strong why. I want to give back. I want to give back. And I want to not always be asking for someone to like open their, pull out their debit card. Feels good to just be like, here's some education that's valuable, that doesn't cost you anything. So that's why I'm here. Thanks for being with me. So something else you should consider besides your why is, what could you talk about forever and ever and ever and ever and ever? Amen. I could talk about group exercise forever. All day. I love it so much. I love teaching so much. I love my classes so much. I love other colleagues and professionals in the industry so much. I feel like I've failed so many times. I've succeeded so many times. I feel like I have so much, like I'm not a spring chicken. I've been around the block. I could talk about it forever. I've got some stuff to add. And I've been in management, and I worked my way up in management. And so it's something that I could talk about forever. What could you talk about forever and ever? Maybe it's like, I don't know. Barb Brodowski, one of my mentors, and she's been on the show. Actually, one of the top 10 episodes is hers, where I interviewed her, and she just started her podcast, and hers is about like pickleball. It's like about pickleball. So like, anyway, what could you talk about forever? Um, let's see. What could you do that maybe hasn't been done a million times? Like true crime has been done a million times. There's like a 5 million true. Like, what could you do that is maybe a little unique? Like I honestly like there was a podcast about group exercise that I really liked, and podcasters stopped podcasting. I don't know why, just stopped. And I was like, oh no, I loved that podcast. So I honestly felt like there is really a need in our industry. Like there is a need for group fitness podcasting. So I'm gonna step in and fill it. I'm there. And so what could you talk about that maybe there's like a real need for, or like a certain specialty niche, uh, maybe relating to fitness, maybe relating to group fitness, maybe relating to hormones or functional nutrition. I have a friend who I want to start podcasting. It's Nicole Printon. She's probably listening right now. Like she needs to podcast. She has a lot to say. She's like literally podcasting every day in her Instagram stories. She should be recording all that. It's really good. She's super smart. She's like got all the education behind her and like has a lot to say and some big opinion and she's fun and she's got this Jersey like she's the perfect example of someone listening to this podcast that should just like do it. All right, so something that hasn't been done, have a niche, something you can talk about forever. Do you want to have solo episodes like I'm doing right now? I'm just kind of talking to you, or like hanging out, or do you want to have guests come on? I decided to do both. I haven't figured out what's I haven't figured out what you guys like better. I think you like both. I'm hearing that you like both. So there's like pros and cons to doing solo episodes. I guess the solo episode is you better be interesting. Otherwise, people are going to get bored real quick. You better have a lot to say and you better be interesting if you're just going to solo podcast. Um, but then having guests is also tricky because maybe people want to come on your show because they want to hear you, because they love they want they want to know what you have to say. And when you have guests on, like I'm always like telling myself like, Ellen, shut up and let your guests talk, don't interrupt, be quiet, go be quiet, let them talk. So but I think there's a nice blend to be had. At least that's what I'm experimenting with. Please let me know, but that's what I've been doing, is kind of like both. So yeah, figure that out. And then do you have a dedicated space? I think I've told you this before, but I now have an empty nest. I know I've told you this before. So if you are happen to be watching on YouTube, I'm in my youngest son's former bedroom. I painted it. See, I painted it. And there's really nothing in here. A guest bed, it's my art room. I have my art supplies in here. A plant and a mirror. That's all it is. So do you have a space? And do you have the time? I'll talk about what that entails shortly. And then here, this is big, guys. Do you love podcasts? Like, I don't think you should. Well, obviously, I mean, you're listening, so I guess I'm preaching to the choir, but I'm gonna say it anyway. If you if you enjoy consuming content through audio, like if you like podcasts, that's actually like a decent indication that you might be a good podcaster. If I love listening to podcasts, I listen to them. I listen to podcasts every single day. No question, multiple pieces of them. I listen to podcasts all the time. And I love consuming content through audio because I can do other things. So whenever in my life I have a mindless task, which is pretty often, I do a lot of tedious computer work. I love to put on podcast audio. So I feel like if you didn't like to listen and consume content through audio, through podcasts, and I know some of you, very few of you, but some of you watch your podcast. That's very unusual, by the way, but some of you watch your podcast. I do upload a video to YouTube. Very few of you consume it that way. And I think that's normal. But like, what was my point? That it's just an authenticity thing. And also, I feel like if you listen to podcasts, you get like a better sense of like how what you're saying translates to just the audio version if you listen like that. And so I think that's just another piece to consider is do you like listening to podcasts? All right, moving on. Let's get into all the investment stuff, investment of time, money, energy, and then I'm going to talk how to get started, some ahas I've had, my advice, my confession. Let's dive in. Here we go. Investment of time. I would say that each episode takes me about 3 to 10 hours. I knew it because I did a lot of research before I started this, and I knew it was going to take a lot. And it does. It's a pretty major commitment. And I am very, very, very busy. So I had to really do some soul searching on this altruistic project of giving back service work. Is it worth like 10 hours a week? Do I have? How can I add 10 hours to my plate right now? And is it worth it? So that's a big that's something to reckon with. Investment of time. You have to plan and organize your thoughts. You need to, if you have a guest, you have to communicate with that guest at least a couple of times. Like, do you want to be on the show? Here's the questions I might be asking you. There's, what date and time are you available? Like, there's some strategy involved, like some quarterly strategy, I would advise. Like, how many guests do you want to have each quarter? Who are they? And like, start, how do you want to communicate with them and try to get those on your books? And then I promote the podcast, so I make some assets in Canva and I post them on LinkedIn and I post them on Facebook and I post them on my Instagram stories and I have a actual channel. Please follow. It's Confessions of a Group X Instructor podcast and it's Instagram. So I made a podcast, so I post on there and I story on there and so there's time invested in marketing and sales and marketing or promotions, I should say. There's the podcast itself, which takes anywhere from, 30 minutes to an hour, sometimes more, sometimes less. There's the actual like putting it all together with the outro and the intro. If you have an outro and an intro, any edits that you need to do. And I will tell you, I almost never edit these. Almost never, ever, ever, ever. I had a guest that had a coughing fit once and asked me if I could possibly edit out the coughing fit. So I went back and edited it. I edited it in iMovie. I'll explain that in a second. And then yeah, there was like another couple of things that happened. I had a guest once that said something that was like, maybe you should edit that out. So I went back and edited it out. So there's that. There's post work to be done. And then there's writing the show notes and uploading it into your host, which I'm going to talk about when I talk about how to do it. There's, all the like uploading or like downloading your recording. I record on Zoom, uploading. There's just all that time. So it's it's a lot. And then there's uploading the video on YouTube. So it's a lot of work. I know, no joke. No joke. It's like 10 hours a week. Um, Investment of money. Here's the good news. So investment of time, it's a lot. Investment of money, not so much. Really, you can do this on a shoestring budget. At least start on a shoestring budget, especially if you're not sure you're going to make it past episode 3. So I bought a kit on Amazon, and that kit was Zoom, Z-U-M, and it came with like a podcasting headset, a podcasting mic, and then the cords that correspond to the mic and the headset. And I will someday, if this continues to be fruitful and rewarding for you and rewarding for me, I will invest in like a mixer and like more high-tech stuff. But for now, I have this like cheap kit that I bought. I think it was either $39 or $139, something like that. I made the intro and the outro to the podcast. And I really like them. I made them on Fiverr. If you don't know about Fiverr, which is spelled Fiverr, It is the coolest resource. If you are entrepreneurial at all, you can bet ask it to do anything. Like I made my logos on there. How cute is my logo? How cute is my logo? I love it. I had someone on Fiverr. I love her. She lives in Serbia. I love her. She's done all my stuff. I've hired people to do fillable PDFs for certain just all kinds of stuff. Uh Presentation decks. Like you can hire out these contractors, these sellers, and that sell their services for your business needs, whatever they are. And so I just went into Fiverr and I typed in podcast intro and outro, and you can listen to some like samples. And I liked the girl, the one you guys hear when you tune in and out of this show. I liked her voice a lot. I liked her sultry little voice. So I hired her. I think she was $100 to do an intro and an outro. And I wrote the script basically for her. And she said it with her sexy little voice and then delivered it. So that was like $100. I had her revise it when I launched Warrior Revolution to include that. And let's see, I have a couple software things that I had to download. One of them is Movavi, which converts the my Zoom recording into an MP3 file. And if you're listening and rolling your eyes, I think it's possible. I don't need to do that. I think Zoom probably automatically converts it to an MP3, so I probably don't need to be doing that, but I do. And then don't forget, I'm still a newbie. And then I have Audio One as some software that I read about that I like that I decided to go with. And I do think I paid for one of those. I don't remember if it was Movavi or Audio One, but I paid an annual fee, and Audio One is where I load everything into. So let me back up. If I have to make edits, like someone's coughing and they want me to edit it out, or someone says something that they regret saying, I do put the Zoom recording in, if I need to make edits, in iMovie because I'm a Mac person. I'm an Apple girl. And if I need to make edits, like edit out the cough, I put it in iMovie and I go edit that out. Oh, I also make those fun sizzles that you guys see on Instagram. That takes me a long time. I'm not using I know you can buy apps that do it for you with AI technology, but I tried one and I didn't like it as much as mine. I didn't like it as much as me creating it. And I know that it's like a major it takes a lot of time to make that little sizzle that I do, but I don't know. I like finding what I think are the highlights of the show, the sound bites. That's fun for me after the show to like listen to it back and like decide what I think are the like, you know, the sound bites. So I do that myself, which is again so time consuming. But yeah, there's software you can like buy for like $30 a month. There's literally AI software that will find the sound bites for you and make your little snippets and teasers and stuff. But anyway, so in iMovie, if I need to edit out someone's cough or something, I edit it out. Then I like export that video to my desktop, the edited one, and then I import it into Audio One. And then I also in Audio One add the intro and outro. And then I export the audio file. And that's what you guys end up listening to. So again, a lot of work, but this topic was investment of money. So I would say my podcast probably cost me $300, like for the intro, the outro, the mic, the headset, the software at the most. And honestly, I could podcast. I probably don't. I honestly, you could podcast without any of that. You don't have to have intro and outro music. You don't have to have a mic. And you really like Zoom really does turn it into an MP3, I'm pretty sure. Like like there's converters that are free. So I think you can really start without with like on a shoestring budget. Okay, now let's talk about investment of energy. We talked about investment of time. We talked about investment of money. Let's talk about investment of energy. I would just say that it's kind of, I feel podcasting is a more vulnerable version of myself. So, in terms of energy, it just feels slightly more vulnerable. And I think part of that is like I'm in my home where, my daughter comes over without, like remember like last week she just like came over in the middle of my podcast or, you know, um I don't know, like I'm in my home, maybe. I don't know. And then also I'm allowing myself, I'm actually asking myself to show up slightly differently with you than I do in my other professional settings. In my other professional settings, I really present a pretty zipped up, polished, professional version, literally, like, you know, and here I just am showing you a little bit more of who I really am and kind of like letting my hair down a little bit more. And so it feels like I need a slightly thicker skin because the more authentic we are, as you know, the more people don't like us. The more people, you know, the more we expose of ourselves, the more vulnerable we are. And the thicker the skin we have to have. And when I thought about investment of energy, honestly, that's what I thought of the most. Also, in terms of investment of energy, and maybe this ties into time, just the commitment. Like I podcasted from Punta Cana, remember? Like with my little laptop out on the little deck. I was sitting on the cement. I was sitting down. It was beautiful. I was sitting down on the deck of our Airbnb, I mean, our room. And it was beautiful, the setting. And I like propped my computer up, I think, on the chair. And I think I sat on the floor and faced it. Like I'm on vacation, but I didn't want to get behind. And so it's just like right, like I'm still jet lagged from France and I'm podcasting you. So just in terms of investment of energy, I just wanted to say like we're committed. It's a commitment. Um, all right, how to get started. So you need a home base. I chose Spotify. I love Spotify for music. I have Apple Music, I have Spotify Music, and Spotify is my favorite. And I just decided to go with them. So that means their Spotify podcasters is like the quarterback. So they get like my podcast is housed there. Spotify is the home of it, and then Spotify sends it out wherever I want it to. And I'm having it only sent to Apple Podcasts and YouTube and I think Google Podcasts. I think I have it's being sent there. But I could check a whole bunch of other boxes and have it sent. Basically, you get something called an RSS feed. It's like your identity of your podcast, and you can have your podcast home, in my case, Spotify, disseminated out to these other entities. So you have to kind of pick a home base. Um, what else? I was just gonna, that's it. You got to pick a home base and then get started. And then I do see analytics and stuff from Spotify. So like I know that 91% of my listeners are women and most of them are my age. Like 43% are like my age and like 30% are like younger, like age 30 to 40. And then there's some like 18 to 20-year-olds and there's some that are older, but the bulk of the listeners are right around my age or a decade or so younger than me. So I also get to see what countries, and also like most people consume my podcast on Apple. I just get to see all that, but listen to this. Are you ready? Okay, because I have this app on my phone, Podcasters app. Okay, 92% are from the United States, 4% are from Canada. And then are you ready? We have listeners in the UK, Austria, Colombia, Estonia, Qatar, Germany, Mexico, Poland, India, Ireland, Finland, Philippines, the Netherlands, France, United Arab Emirates, Dominican Republic, New Zealand, Honduras, Indonesia, Sweden, Spain, Malaysia, Brazil, Zimbabwe, Turkey, Japan, Singapore, Puerto Rico, Austria, Greece, Belgium, Denmark, Guam, Costa Rica, Norway, Mauritius, and Morocco. Are you kidding me? Thank you guys for listening. I mean, that's just amazing to me. So anyway, you get to see analytics from your podcast home, and that's how you get started. All right, my biggest aha, I guess, is that I want, when I have a guest come on, to have a formula. And I've realized in having the formula, I can really just relax and be myself and have conversation and not be thinking or like trying to figure out where it's going. Also, I've learned to really make sure that I communicate with my guest that the goal is to add value to you. So, yes, they are welcome to sell themselves or sell their product or their program or talk about what they have to offer the world. Absolutely. Absolutely. But first, I want them to give you value. So I've made that's kind of been something I learned in the first, that's something I learned I really wanted. And so that's my formula. Basically, if I have a guest on, it's hi, introduce them, their story in fitness, what their value add to you is, and then whatever like certain thing they might be offering if they, have something that they're offering. So that's my formula. And anyway, in doing that, it's helped me find like I'm at a place now with my little formula that I can be so present in the conversation with them because I know the flow. I know where it's going. And so it's really just getting to know them with you. Maybe I already know them really well, but lately I've had guests that I don't know well. So I'm kind of getting to know them with you. And it's just been fun. I like it when it's conversational. If you ever get the opportunity to be a guest on a podcast, then take it because it's super helpful. It's it's really helpful. It's really helpful, especially if you think you might want a podcast. Like I think it helped me to be a guest on numerous podcasts before I started my own. And also, if you are listening and you have something wonderful to add to this community in terms of value, like definitely reach out and let me know. And I will see if there's room in the calendar. Okay. My advice to you, drum roll, we are ending this episode, is okay, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird, but my advice is to try it without telling anyone. Then there's no pressure. I mean, if what 90% of people quit after 3 episodes, that's terrible. Like how horrible and embarrassing it is for them. Like that they tried and quit and failed. So why not just do 3 episodes and not tell anyone and just bank them? Record practice. Record them. See if you like it. Test it. No one needs to know. Tell your spouse and tell your best friend and don't tell anyone else. Just practice. So this was my goal. Okay, here comes my confession. Okay, I have 2 confessions today. 2. But this relates to you just practicing. Just try it. Practice. Because what if you do a couple and you're like, I don't like this? Then you're not committed. You can just bail and nobody thinks you're a quitter. Okay, also it's helpful to bank some, like to have some ready so that when you do, if you do launch, maybe you have like 6 episodes in the bank. That's what I recommend. That is my advice to you. Try it and don't tell anyone. Try it and put 6 episodes in the bank, meaning they're recorded and they're in your computer. And maybe you don't like one of them. You don't have to add it. You don't have to upload it. Um, yeah, so okay, so my confession is that I wanted to launch in January of this year, 2024. And I was going to do it privately and not tell anyone and see if I liked it. Same advice I'm giving you. And so I think I recorded 3 I think I had 3 done. I wanted to do 6. I wanted to bank 6. I also felt like that would be a nice buffer with all the traveling I do so that I didn't ever feel like my hair was on fire and I needed to like under the gun bust out an episode. So I was going to do 6, but after the third one, I didn't know how to podcast. This is one of those like you don't have to see the whole staircase, you just have to know the next step situations. So I didn't know. I had done research. I knew it was going to be like 10 hours a week of work. It was actually 11 that I read. It was like 11 hours of work a week. But anyway, I knew it was going to be a lot of work. I knew this, that, and the other thing, but I didn't really know how to do it. I didn't really know. And so I was like reading blogs and asking Google and looking at YouTube and trying to figure out like how do you start a podcast? And so I picked Spotify to be my home base, the quarterback that throws the football to the other channels. And I accidentally published my first episode. That's my confession. It was a total accident. I didn't mean to. And it was November. Remember, I was going to launch, and I'm like a marketing freak. I was going to like hype the hell out of it. I was gonna like amp it up and tease it out and breadcrumb, breadcrumb, breadcrumb. And I was like gonna do it right and kick it off in the new year, like January, new podcast, new year. And here I am trying to figure out how to do this podcaster's RSS feed thing. And boom, I published my first episode and it shot out to YouTube and everywhere else. And that was the thing, YouTube. That was the thing, is it goes to the Warrior Instructor YouTube channel. The audio, I have to upload the video there later, but the audio automatically goes there as a YouTube podcast. So that's the thing. I do have people on YouTube, like instructors on YouTube that follow the account. And so I knew they were going to see it. And I hadn't announced it. I wasn't ready to announce it. I hadn't breadcrumbed it. I hadn't planned them. I didn't even know for sure if I guess I was pretty sure that I was committed, but I wanted to bank 6 and then decide. But here I go. I shot it out into the universe 3 episodes in. Episode 1 went out. I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready, but there it was. So I had a choice, like figure out how to delete it and remove it or just roll with it. So I rolled with it and I'm glad I did. So we launched in November of 2023 instead of January of 2024. And I am enjoying it and it is fulfilling and it is a lot of work. And I'm motivated by you and those of you that have honestly like left reviews. That is literally what motivates me, is like I'm like, okay, it's making a difference. Like people like it, it's helping people, whether it's something I say or whether it's something my guest has to offer you. That's what's keeping me going and making it worth my while. So thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. What else did I want to say about that? Something. Um, oh, yeah, just that and like some of the people that are local or that I see and I see in person, like tell me how, they like listen every Monday. Like they don't even wait till Tuesday. And it just feels good. So thank you for that. Now, my other confession is just that those headphones, remember I bought that Zoom kit, ZUM, that Zoom kit, and it had a microphone and headphones. Well, one day I was doing a podcast and I had a guest on. And I have this like fear when I have a guest on that, like, what if it doesn't record correctly? Like, what if it doesn't record correctly? Or every once in a while in my life, when I close Zoom, there's like a failure, and like your recording is like gone. And I have this fear that like I'm gonna have this special important guest on and they're gonna be giving me and you their time and their energy and their talent out of their busy life. And we're gonna record it and it's gonna be gone. I like have that fear every time I have a guest on, by the way. So anyway, sorry I'm yawning, but again, France and jet lag and stuff like that. So anyway, I did an episode with somebody and we finished the episode and as soon as I ended the meeting, I looked at myself in the in my computer, like my image on Zoom, and I was like, "Oh, I'm not wearing the headset. I don't have the headset on. I forgot to plug in. I forgot about the headset because I thought as a podcaster, you need like a headset and a mic. I really thought that headset was important. I don't it came in the box. Like I don't understand. So I was worried that I like screwed up the episode, but I went and listened to it back and it was perfectly fine. So I don't know. That's confession. Confession number one. I didn't mean to start the podcast in November. It was an accident. Confession number two, in every single episode where I'm wearing headphones, they did absolutely nothing except maybe make me feel like a podcaster. But now I don't wear them. I don't wear them. They mess up my already messy hair. So, all right, I love you guys. Thank you for being in this with me. So, cheers to episode 28. And like I said, I'm going to give it a year and see where it goes from there. All right. Peace out. Teach great classes. Love on people. And I'll see you next week.
Thank you for joining in on the Confessions of a Group X Instructor podcast. If you're interested in becoming a warrior instructor, go to warriorinstructors.com. But if you want more and found this episode amazing, please give us a rating. And with a simple click to subscribe, we'll invite you back to our next episode. So remember, be brave, be bold, be blessed. And above all, listen, learn, love.